Nova Online. He's at face value a goofy little fella who posts some cringe on TikTok, some food reviews here and there, but hidden just beneath the surface is now a world of disgusting predatory behavior, and we'll get into that today, because as of recently, Nova has gotten himself into another server after just 3 weeks of his other servers being completely nuked for the disgusting content and explicit material that was getting perpetuated there by the disgusting individuals Nova likes to associate himself with now. But as some more screenshots came out with a conversation with another YouTuber known as Bengu came out, you get to see a little more behind the scenes with the chome and see exactly how he talks to people who he believes to be on his side. And then unfortunately we may have an Alice 2.0 on our hands, another crazed fan that Nova's already gotten into contact with, it seems like. But why don't we get just right into it? So the chome, if it wasn't apparent with the 5 or 6 minute live streams he's been doing playing Clash of Clans and I believe Clash Royale too, he's had a wonderful time playing any game created by Supercell as of lately, and he wanted to branch out and spend some time with, talking to, and associating with other people with a similar mindset, you know, other people who like to play Clash of Clans. You know, he just wants to find other like-minded individuals who'd rather spend all their money on Clash of Clan gems to rush to town halls they're not ready for rather than giving rent money to their disabled mom. No matter the motive behind Nova wanting to create this server to socialize, having just this clan on Clash of Clans wasn't enough for him. He was itching to make another server, so he made one and put the invite link in the clan chat. Boy oh boy was he unhappy when he finally realized that that did in fact get leaked though, which was especially apparent in this screenshot where he goes,
"Okay, we are so going to find who leaked the whole fucking server."
which absolute props to whoever did end up leaking the server because it was a little difficult to get into. You had to be in Nova's Clash of Clans clan, obviously, which was also, of course, invite only, but as soon as you're in there, you know, you're all set. He had the link just on full display for everyone who, or anyone really in the clan who wanted to join. The only stipulation was you had to show him what your Clash of Clans account was when you joined the server, but that seems simple enough because someone ended up doing it. And the best part, which was like music to my ears, or really art to my eyes, I guess you could say, was seeing the server get nuked so soon after it got leaked. Because not only would this genius not close the server fast enough, but he would end up giving roles an admin position, I assume, in Discord. At least a role where they could edit the channel names within the Discord server, which I'll just show you guys this work of art. We have not the server at the top. We've got Too High for Stupid Wins, Hector Sanchez sightings, which I believe is people speculating his dad's name. Then, of course, it's obligatory. We have Nova is a larger PDF file. You really love to see it because anytime you give him a place like this to meander, to loiter and talk to people, a younger individual is unfortunately bound to end up in one of these places, and as soon as that happens, as soon as Nova realizes that there's someone young enough for him to prey upon, he'll latch right on. He needs to stay within the public eye if he's going to stay on the internet, because if you don't keep a watchful eye on him, he will start to again prey upon kids. He always will have that want within him, and it's just because he's a predatory person by nature, obviously, since he's so easily intertwined himself with that UTTP group, also known as the YouTube Troll Police, a group who love spreading and spamming with bots CSAM material all across the internet. Just a terrible group of people, a group of people Alice, Nova's first insane fangirl, has been known to associate herself with. They made the last couple servers with Nova, and of course they made the Telegram that he's probably still speaking to and talking to people within right at this very moment. And I know it's a little cringy, and most people's moms probably say this, Nova, but you are the company that you keep, and if you're surrounding yourself with these terrible, dastardly type people, what does that say about you? Moving forward, following the glorious nuking of Nova's server, we have him emergency spam banning anyone who is a little suspicious from the Clash of Clans server to try to do any sort of cleanup work that he can to stop people from entering the server. But it was already too late at this point. The server was done and over with. But that's where we'd get the following text messages between Bengu and Nova Online, where we get to see what his mental state was like and how he's going to defend himself on this one. Bengu first reaches out here saying Nova, and then Nova goes, "What the F do you want? I'm stressed. Is this really you now? What the hell's going on with this? I thought you were done with this. I literally just made one for the COC and CR clans. Someone went and fucking leaked it." And then rightfully Bengu asks, "But knowing your situation, why? I understand you want a server for your fans who do appreciate you, but why do you keep making servers after these people come in? I know at this moment you may be stressed, but explain what you can. You're aware of those allegations. You say you've debunked them, but how? If you won't give other answers, at least give me some kind of answer. Nova, just answer me. And this is a great point. Knowing his situation, all the allegations surrounding him in Discord of all places, why doesn't he want to steer clear of making Discord servers? I mean, we can't get this Discord mod away from Discord, of course, but at the very least, Nova, stop making these Discords because this is how it's always going to end. This is just what happens when you get caught flirting with a co-host who's 3 years below the age of 18. It's what happens when you get caught FaceTiming people who are 4 years below the age of 18, age regressing and showing them your diaper. You don't get to have a Discord server to loiter and apparently always end up doing something degenerate on. Very apparent with that last Discord where there was some gross material being shared around there. But continuing on with these messages, Nova would say things like,
right now, I just want to go fuck myself.
which if anyone's seen that disgusting Nova Hub video or even heard about that, is very interesting verbiage to use there, considering that just came out that he's also getting a whole bunch of flack on. Then he goes ahead and says, I hate myself, and I have since the incident. Now, if this was any other normal person, maybe you'd be able to pinpoint one particularly bad part in their life, a bad time in their life, and say that was the incident. But knowing Nova, with how many incidents that occur almost weekly at this point, who knows what he could be referring to now? I mean, maybe this was the Clash of Clans nuking that just happened, or maybe this was the whole last Discord thing, or maybe this was the incident with Sia. Who knows, really, which incident he's truly referring to here. But then Bangu would go ahead and buddy comfort him a little bit, try to get some more stuff out of him. Nova would go, feel like I'm gonna throw up, and then Bangu comforts him again, saying, calm down, please try your best. I know this is fucking horrible. Trust me, I know all about false accusations. Nova would go, like the bit where Sia lied about everything and even faked screenshots. So it was about Sia, the incident. And again, anyone who's not familiar, Sia was that co-host he was caught flirting with over on Instagram that was 3 years younger than 18 at the time. And Nova, truly pleading his case here, he would go, yes, everything was faked. Yes, even Fakespeth admitted it, still harping on a singular win where Bloodspeth, I believe, misspoke almost a year ago now. And then he goes, one thing, by the way,
if any of this gets leaked, you'll be added to my fit list.
I'm sorry for the atrocious impression there, but still, it's just so funny that we're reading this now after the leaks have already happened. And speaking of Bloodspeth, Nova is of course still very mad that the only real life friend that he had, who was trying to better his life the whole time they were friends until it ultimately went down the drain, went over to Bloodspeth, or should I say Fakespeth's channel, in order to do an interview to see what Nova was really like in real life. And I very much suggest you guys go and give that a watch. But he goes, blank is already on the top of my shit list along with Chin. Who's that? My IRL friend turned troll. Oh right, him? What'd he do? Nova goes, because he know Fakespeth, or should I say, Gennaro Jackson is my biggest troll. Which, I don't get this whole Gennaro Jackson thing. I've heard whisperings about who this person was from other creators, and then of course the chome came into my chat not too long ago claiming I was Gennaro Jackson. I really want to know the reference because I haven't found it. I haven't really looked into it all that much, but it's like he's throwing this name at every single content creator he can and hoping someone gets a little too angry at it. And who knows, maybe it was one of those UTTP members, or maybe Alice, who fed him this information to try to get Nova a little win. Who knows? What would Nova be without his sympathy bait, though? Because he'd go ahead and say, I tried to SH when I got double-crossed by him. Really? How? You didn't try anything bad, did you? Nova said he used a cane sword to attempt SH, which is not quite, but almost as goofy as his wrist squeezing incident, I'd say. Why a cane sword? Of all the random items spread throughout his house, I know he has plenty of silverware in there. He decided to try a cane sword, allegedly, which I don't even really believe. But he said, I tried, but good thing the blade was dull AF. I just think it's super disgusting for someone who claims to be a mental health advocate to be sympathy baiting and this close to deleting themselves. Because as someone who has witnessed what that does to the people around you, your family members and whatnot, that's just such a disgusting thing to act like, oh, I might do this. Oh, I really tried to do this. Like, you are such a sad, disgusting, gross individual to even be talking like that, to try to get sympathy points out of people. And despite the awful, terrible life that Nova leads, I doubt he's ever experienced the suffering of the family members who go through experiencing that loss, let alone the person who ends up doing that sort of act. It's just so disgusting. He's such a disgusting individual in every single twist and turn that we look at this guy. But of course he farmed enough sympathy from Bengu. He didn't have to talk about that for too much longer. He just had to go ahead and say, oh, I still have a bad feeling in my tummy. But really not wanting to do anything about it, claims he has no medicine whatsoever. I don't really even believe his stomach was upset or anything. He had to have just been a little sad that he lost his server. But he goes ahead and says, people are believing all the bad shit. Like the one that says, God, I effing love kids was photoshopped. I never said anything like that. All the Epstein shit. Like, it's so funny to me that Nova at any point in time took that Epstein shit seriously, which is so hilarious whenever I see an edit of him on Epstein's island or sitting there with Epstein, because, you know, they're very like-minded individuals. But Nova, we know you never went out to the island. Come on. Now, this next part you Grubbas might love. This is the first time Nova has addressed the diaper incident since the Nova files dropped, which would be the very long calls he had with that person who was 4 years under the age of 18, where he was age regressing or acting like a baby, wearing a diaper and showing his diaper to said individual. Absolute degenerate behavior, I might add. But Nova says, I want to clarify, the PDF file shit is not true, and all the ABDL stuff was done in 18 plus servers where ID verification was needed. It's an adult community, which by the way is 100% false. We watched multiple one-on-one calls that he had with the same individual who was very much, again, 4 years under the age of 18. Those calls, of course, to protect the identity of the very young individual, had to be voiced over by none other than Purity Sin, but just because the identity of someone so young had to be protected doesn't mean that they were faked, Nova, come on. Other than all that though, we for the most part just get a little update on the fact that him and Alice are still definitely, which, who knows, she claims she's a troll, but she's been talking to this guy, defending him for so long. What have you really done to your internet presence after all this, dude? And a big gripe I have with the Leaping Lemur shows up, where Nova just gets another plain dub from Gilberto, which I don't think that the Lemur's necessarily worse than the Chome, because again, the Leaping Lemur took that girl who was a viewer of his to a motel and R-worded her, raped her, you could say. But Nova's also a PDF file, just plain and simple, so who knows, it's a toss-up there, but just giving the Chome a dub like this is never a good look, and it's just, that's all that is right there, is a dub for the Chome, unfortunately. Speaking about wins for the Chome, or at least perceived wins for the Chome, we have yet another Alice on our hands. Another super fangirl who just came into the picture on the 24th. Not much can be said about this fangirl for now, other than the fact that they're going by the name Clarissa, allegedly. But so far, similar to how Alice started out, she's just been posting a whole bunch of slop about how Nova mogs everybody, or just giving him immeasurable support without reason. And it seems the Chome noticed that, and the Chome liked that, because Chome never changes. You gotta say a couple good things about the guy, and then you immediately have his heart, you have his trust, and he's gonna put 100% faith in you, no matter what you have to say to him. So, without a doubt, this person is probably already in contact with Nova, because Nova went ahead and followed them. Only mere hours after they created the account, so Nova, he is desperate to find supporters of his. Now, I personally don't know the true motives behind this new fan account. Who knows? Maybe they are truly a fan of Nova's, but one thing's for sure, it's more than likely that this person is under the age of 18 and should not be talking to Nova. I guess only time will tell. We'll just have to see how this unfolds, fellas. I think the break that this Grubba has taken from watching South Park in order to make this video has been long enough, so I want to thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment what you think of this situation, hype up the video with that new feature they've got going, and maybe even subscribe if I was just that awesome today. Anyways, later, Grubbas.
I'm a piece of shit, baby.